Good afternoon, everyone. Today, let's further discuss about communication and the process of communication. Well, we know for the fact that communication will always play a crucial part in our personal and professional lives, and its mastery, of course, will influence how effective we are in our lives. Actually, the key to becoming an effective communicator is to aim always at reaching out to the other persons and really putting all your efforts into transmitting message as accurately as possible for understanding to take place. Before, in our previous discussion, we defined what is communication. Well, it is interesting to study communication since whatever you learn here, you can immediately apply it in your daily transactions. From most ordinary living, giving instruction to your helper at home, to the most complicated such as explaining to your parents your request for a raise in allowance or taking a heart-to-heart with a very close friend, of course, needs an effective communication. So for today, we will be discussing about the process of communication. What are this process of communication? But before going to that, let me tell you first, just a recap, that communication establishes relationships and makes organizing possible. Every message that we have has a purpose or objective. The sender intends, whether consciously or unconsciously, to accomplish something by communicating. In organizational context, messages typically have a definite objective: to motivate, to inform, to teach, to persuade, to entertain, or to inspire. Actually, in the previous lesson, I have given you the different purpose of communication, and somehow I have explained this purpose. So this definite purpose is in fact one of the principal differences between casual and conversation and managerial communication. Effective communication is the organization centers on well-defined objectives that support the organization's goals and mission. You yourself, when you deliver your speech, the message that you want to give to the person, you have a particular purpose of conveying the message. So it's very important to know the purpose why you are relating your ideas, your concepts to other people. There is certain objective that you want to attain. There is that goal that you want to attain. That's the reason why of conveying your message to them. The effectivity of that message, whether they understand it or not, is how you transfer, the way you transfer the communication, your message to that particular person or to the organization. So going further, let me share to you now the process of communication. Okay, here are the process of communication. Let's have this one. Communication is a two-way actually, process wherein the message is the form of ideas, thoughts, feelings, opinions is transmitted between two or more persons with the intent of creating a shared understanding. Just like what I told you earlier, when you make or when you communicate to people, you are transmitting your ideas, sharing your ideas to them, hoping that they understand it. Okay, and you have a certain purpose of transmitting the message or your ideas. Next, the term communication is derived from the Latin word communis, which means to share. Effective communication is when the message conveyed by the sender is understood by the receiver in exactly the same way as it was intended. Meaning to say, there is the proper way of transmitting your message wherein they understood it. The way to communicate it to the other person around, meaning to say that the communication is clear because they understood it. Okay? Next, have you ever wondered why some people can communicate so well while others fail to get their message across? Have you asked this question to yourself? Why is it that sometimes there is that conflict in delivering your message? Maybe it's because the other person or the receiver was not able to understand what you are saying. So what are the elements that must be present in the communication process before it can be successful and effective? Okay, so here are some of those things that we have to remember. The communication is a dynamic process that begins with conceptualizing of ideas by the sender, who then transmits the message through a channel to the receiver, who in turn gives the feedback in the form of some message or signal within the given time frame. Thus, there are 7 major elements of communication process, wherein later on I will be showing to you the process of communication. Okay, take note of this, no? It says there that the sender will be the one to conceptualize the ideas before transmitting the message through the receiver by using such channel. We have to take note of also the channel, the proper channel to use in order for the receiver to get our ideas, the message that we have transmitted. Otherwise, if the channel is somewhat wrong also, there will be conflict. So we have to consider the process of communication. Not only the sender, even the receiver, but also the channel. Okay, so let's move on with the process of communication. In the process of communication, we have to remember the sender. Who is this sender? The sender or the communicator is the person who initiates the conversation and has conceptualized the idea that he intends to convey it to others. Meaning to say, if you are the sender, you are the one who should conceptualize your idea before relating it, before translating it, or before you convey your idea to other person. Okay, so that is the sender. Next, we have the encoding. The encoding, it says here, the sender begins with the encoding process wherein he uses words or nonverbal methods such as symbols, signs, body gestures, and others to translate the information into a message. The sender's knowledge, skills, perception, background, competencies, etc. has a great impact on the success of the message. In our previous lesson, we've discussed about the different forms of communication, wherein we have the verbal communication, the use of the words, and the other one is what we call the non-verbal communications, wherein the non-verbal communications, you need to use symbols, the body language that you have. The eye contact is another form of verbal, non-verbal communication. So it's just proper for us to use the proper gesture also for us to deliver well our message. Otherwise, if the body language that we use and also the gesture is not right, that relaying or translating of communication, your message will not be that effective. And the receiver might not get what you are telling. Okay? Next is what we call the message. What is this message all about? Once the encoding is finished, the sender gets the message that he intends to convey. The message can be written, oral, symbolic, or non-verbal, such as body gesture, silent, sigh sounds, or any other signal that triggers the response of the receiver. The message is the substance, the content of your ideas that is being transferred. Okay? The one that you would like to relay to the receiver. What kind of message you would like the receiver to get? This will be now all under message. It will fall under message. What would be your message, whether verbal? If you raise your eyebrows, what is your message? When you try to communicate with people using the non-verbal, let's say for example you want to raise your eyebrows. So what message would you like to translate? Okay, so body movements is very important also, and even sounds and gestures, as what I told you earlier, because this can give a wrong interpretation also of what you are telling if you will be using such gesture wherein it is not really your intention. So the proper gesture is very important in relaying your message, and even your body language, the tone of voice also. Next, communication channel. When we speak of communication channel, it is the sender chooses the medium through which he wants to convey his message to the recipient. It must be selected carefully in order to make the message effective and correctly interpreted by the recipient. Well, the choice of medium depends on the interpersonal relationships between the sender and the receiver, and also on the urgency of the message being sent. Oral, virtual, written, sound, gesture are some of the common used communication mediums. When we speak of communication channel, it is the medium that you are using in translating your message. How are you going to deliver your message using channel? What kind of channel or mediums are you going to use in order for you to relay your message? Well, you could use technology and other means also, like group chat. If you'd like to send message, you could also send it in your group chat, or you could also PM the person You could use your cell phone in transferring your message. You could also send your message via email and other means or other mediums of communication. So there are lots of mediums of communication already that could be used. Next is what we call the receiver. When we speak of receiver, the receiver is the person for whom the message is intended or targeted. He tries to comprehend it in the best possible manner such that the communication objective is attained. The degree to which the receiver decodes the message depends on his knowledge of the subject. Subject matter, experience, trust, and relationship with the sender. So receiver. The receiver actually is the one who will receive your message. And what is your relationship with the receiver? Okay, take note of that one. The receiver, it says here, the degree to which the receiver decodes the message depends on his knowledge of the subject matter, experience, trust, and relationship with the sender. For example, the receiver is really wants to listen to your opinion. He will pay attention to what you are saying. So it depends upon the receiver. If the receiver really hates you and doesn't want to listen to what you are telling, so that's why there is that what we call trust and relationship between the receiver and the sender. Okay, I hope you were able to get this. Okay, now I'll be giving you activity already. Okay, I'll be asking you to do this. The KWL, it's one of the strategies that we are using. So I want you to fill up the KWL chart below with the necessary answers above. I want to know your idea of what is communication. Okay, so try to fill out the chart by writing your idea of what is communication. And then, what do you want to learn more about communication, especially in this subject? What do you want to learn more? And the last part, after me discussing this topic, I want you to fill out the last part, the lessons that you've learned from this topic that I am discussing right now. So this will be about activity 2, and I'll be giving you time to do this, okay, and answer the chart. And afterwards, after doing the activity 2, let's go to activity 3, wherein I want you to write, okay, you have to write statements whether you are agreed with this one, okay? The meaning of communication lies in the way that it is received. Is it true? Do you agree with this? And why? So, do you agree with the above statement given that the meaning of communication really lies in the way that it is received? If it is yes, try to state your opinion. And if you do not agree, you try to state your opinion also and find reasonable. And write down your reason why you disagree with this one. Okay, I hope this one is clear. So I'll be giving you time to answer activity 2 and activity 3. So for now, that's all. Good afternoon, and go back to your LMS.